Empire. A stunner in Baltimore. And then, are the Bears hanging by a thread? This is the Football Jones Podcast. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back for another episode. We had another exciting week of NFL action, but none more exciting than the Sunday night game, the Baltimore Ravens delivering a stunner, defeating the undefeated Patriots. Lamar Jackson puts his team on his back and carries them to victory. Man, look, I've been saying it, but now I'm even more convinced. I know what Russell Wilson is doing is very amazing, impressive. I know Aaron Rodgers is having a great season. Patrick Mahomes means so much to the Chiefs, and they're finding a way to get it done without him, but he's playing at MVP caliber level. But Lamar Jackson has got to be the MVP of this season. Yes, I know there's still a half of the season left to go, but what we saw last night and the way that he has just willed his team to victory, hands down for me, he's your MVP. Look, I felt like he was going to give the Patriots some trouble in the first half. But I thought they were going to go back to the drawing board at halftime, make adjustments, and find a way to contain him. I was wrong. They did go back to the drawing board. They did make adjustments. But the athleticism that Jackson has, he is such an X factor. I mean, the way he was able to stop on a dime, the Patriots had guys in position, but he would find a way to escape, slam on the brakes, guys flying by him, slip by, slide through an opening, and at times flick the ball downfield or find an open receiver. He just did it all. I know that he's going to get criticism this morning. People are still poo-pooing him because he rushed for more yards than his running back. I don't care. I don't care that he didn't have 300 passing yards. This kid wills his team to victory. He finds a way to get it done, and that's what matters. Take him off of that team, and they are not a playoff team. I had wondered, I wrote about contenders and pretenders last week, and I said the jury was still out on them because I wanted to see what he was going to do against a top-level defense. Well, he faced the best defense in the league last night, and he made them look silly. Lamar Jackson, we'll see when they get to the playoffs. If they face the Patriots again, what do they have cooked up for them? I know the game changes a little bit in the postseason, but I don't care. This kid is growing up in front of our eyes, and he is finding a way to get it done. And so that's why, again, I'm saying he's your MVP. That was a big, big win for the Ravens, and we'll see. The Patriots go into their bye week now. I'm not worried about them. Their offense does need work. That was exposed. They couldn't counterpunch, and their defense has got to be a little shaken up. But I think that was a huge statement about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about another team. Like I said, the Bears. I was in Philadelphia yesterday, covered the Bears versus the Eagles. Both of those teams almost in must-win situations. Eagles found a way to get it done. The Bears, a team that in the offseason had openly talked about Super Bowl expectations. They are anything but Super Bowl contenders. And so we're going to sit down with my buddy Rich Campbell from the Chicago Tribune and figure out what has gone wrong with this team. Why have they fallen so short of those expectations? Stick with me here. We're going to dive into all that when we come back. All right, I'm here in the Eagles press box with my buddy Rich Campbell, another former Redskins co-beat writer, now with the Chicago Tribune, Bears beat writer there. Has been there for how many years now?
This is my 7th season, Jonesy.
That is crazy.
Crazy, man.
7 seasons, knows the team inside and out, so I wanted to get his insight onto this Bears team because they came into the league, came into the year with a lot of, high expectations, and that's just not happened. They're not the contender that people thought they were going to be. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, as you saw today, that first half was an absolute debacle right? The Eagles outgained the Bears in the first half 202-9. It was the worst Bears first half from a yardage standpoint in 40 years. So this is everything. It's the partnership between Matt Nagy and Mitch Trubisky that was supposed to galvanize this team. It just hasn't happened. The offense is disjointed. It starts at quarterback. They've got shortcomings at other positions, particularly offensive line. I think you saw that against the Eagles, that they were getting pressure, disrupting Trubisky. But at some point, doesn't the second overall pick need to elevate other people? He needs to cover up mistakes with the way he throws guys open and his playmaking ability. It just doesn't happen. Trubisky doesn't have command of the offense enough, and things break down around him enough that they came into this game, in the bottom 5 in the NFL in yards and yards per play. They just have no consistency. And this first half on Sunday against the Eagles was a low point. 9 yards. 9 yards in the first half.
Yeah. We saw a little bit in the third quarter. They were able to move the football. They ran the ball. And, and they talked about it at the press conference. First half, really bad on first downs. Second half, for the third quarter, they were better at that. But a lot of that stuff was scheming guys open and things like that. You don't see any special flash from Trubisky.
No, I mean that's it. You have to be that playmaker that can get plays with the make plays with your legs, that can climb the pocket and be poised enough when things are breaking down around him. And when the Bears drafted him and traded up, they truly thought that he had that special playmaking ability, accurate, could contort his body and throw from different platforms, would have that type of pocket presence that he has not shown consistently. And so, in the second half against the Eagles, you see them go play action. Taylor Gabriel runs a corner post route, and it's a 53-yard gain. The Bears have had nothing down the field this season. Just an inept downfield passing game. So for them to hit that, it's one of those moments where you say, okay, do that way more often. And as you said, they had run 3 plays in a row to set up the play action. And so that's the type of rhythm that the play calling has not found, that Nagy really hasn't been able to capture. And so you see other plays where it's a 3rd and long pass to Adam Shaheen, a second-round tight end who is just not the athlete that they had hoped he would be. And so you wonder about that choice in that situation. But you're right, they find that flash in the second half. They score 2 touchdowns. The defense keeps them in the game. They've got, the ball driving to go ahead in the fourth quarter, and you drop a screen pass. David Montgomery drops a screen pass. So it's consistency offensively. Yeah, they're bad. Yeah, Trubisky has questions, but he's capable at times. They just cannot string games together, full games.
Now, and also, the other thing about the defense is I wondered that, the Eagles were able to put it away. They converted like 4 straight third downs. Do you think at that point the defense is just gassed? They were on the field a lot during the first half. Is that kind of what led to that collapse there late in the game?
Yeah, that's interesting that you would bring that up, because this has been an issue for the offense and the defense. Just the fact they don't play complementary football. The defense is on the field a lot. They were in London against the Raiders. They were against the Saints. Look at time of possession here on Sunday. The Eagles had the ball for 40 minutes, 18 seconds. You probably can't find 5 games in the NFL this season that are as lopsided as that. 20-minute differential in time of possession. You'll never win like that. So, yes, I do think that's part of it, but also let's think about how they converted those third downs, right? It wasn't necessarily that the Bears were getting run over. Some really nice play design by Doug Peterson. They had that throwback tight end screen to really seal the game. Wentz made a throw to Alshon Jeffrey, who had dropped a couple passes in the game, and so he made a play. I think the time of possession has something to do with it, no doubt. I think generally the defense's spirit has been broken because their margin for error is just nothing. They have no margin for error. You see it today. You give up 22 points to the Eagles, and really it was 19 up to the end of the game there. That's good enough to keep you in the game. That should be good enough to win. And the offense just can't score 20 points. This is they played 8 games this season. This is the 6th time in 8 games that the offense for the Bears has not scored 20. You don't score 20 points, your defense has to come up with a takeaway. It might have to score, and it's got to get off the field all the time. So, eventually it's too much to ask of them. they really miss Akeem Hicks. There's
Right.
no question. The Pro Bowl defensive tackle, he was out. Eddie Goldman, their really good nose tackle, suffered a thigh injury. He missed the second half, and they just missed that presence inside. You saw the way Jordan Howard ran, Miles Sanders ran. So they're down some playmakers, but the offense isn't helping them out.
Okay, so what's their best bet here? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good question, man.
Do they strip this thing down, turn him into a game manager, hope that they can pound the football, get off the field on defense, and then week by week do it like that? Because if he's not capable of negating and erasing and masking deficiencies, is that just what they have to do? Because that's what you do with a young quarterback who's limited skill-wise. Even though this is his third year, it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
What do you think?
This is really tough. So let's assume they stick with him, which I truly think they will. So their backup is Chase Daniel. They don't have Nick Foles coming off the bench here to save their season. So I think they stick with Trubisky because Daniel doesn't do anything for the long term of the organization. I don't think you'd get anyone to concede inside Hallis Hall right now that it now becomes a developmental season. It can't be that. But the record is what it is. It's 3-5. Okay. Could you win your 8 remaining games and go 11-5? Theoretically, yes. Here's their schedule, okay, in no particular order. But they've got road games against the Vikings, Packers, Lions, Rams, okay? No. They play the Chiefs at home. They're going to get the Lions at home, and they play the Cowboys and Giants. I mean, the schedule only gets tougher from here. So at some point, the losses pile up to 8, right? And you get to a point where you can't make the playoffs. Right. And then at that point, it really has to become a developmental season for Mitch. So then to your question, would you try to spark his confidence by stripping things down, maybe taking some of the motions and formations out of the offense and really trying to let him play fast? Because athletically, he's gifted. Or do you throw it all at him because, hey, we got to see what sticks with this guy? I truly don't know, but I do know that the 2 things. Number one, he's had more success when they're simplified. Okay. So I think they'll stay that way because, number 2, confidence is a huge issue with Mitch. And when I say issue, I mean problem. Right. It has been very clear that Mitch has had difficulty flushing negative plays from his mind, moving on within games, from game to game, and also, play to play. And so, for example, that long ball, the 53-yarder to Gabriel today, that's a big deal. Yeah. Matt Nagy keeps talking about we just need something to spark it, something to get Mitch feeling good. Well, they went to Washington in week 3, and Trubisky threw 3 touchdowns, and they thought that would get him going. He throws a second-half interception, and it sort of, stifles that progress.
And he's only had touchdown passes in only one other game other than that one, right?
Correct. And he did miss a game, but so he also, has the long ball today. They play Detroit next week, so maybe can he get something going? So part of it is the mental game with Mitch. They've got to cater to him. I think that means stripping it down. But we're assuming they stick with him. I think they will, but we'll see. I mean, you can always lose the next game, and it depends how you look, right? The first half today can't continue. You can't keep playing like that. Second half, a lot better, but they're just inconsistent.
Okay, so if they go away from him, he was not – Nagy didn't draft him.
That's correct.
So if he says, look, guys, I tried, how much pressure on him is there to make it work with Trubisky, or would they listen to him if he says, I don't think he's got it?
So I think it is important to acknowledge that Matt was not here, with the Bears when they drafted Mitch. Ryan Pace, the general manager, was. Ryan, who hired Matt, subsequently, that's his guy. He was all in. Obviously, he picked him over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. That was his guy. Matt would not have taken the job if he didn't think he could win with Trubisky or elevate him. Obviously, if you don't think you can win with the quarterback on a team and you don't have a chance to draft one, which is what the parameters were, then you weren't coming to take this job. So I don't think you can delineate or separate Matt from Trubisky's struggles. He was brought here to make Mitch better, and it has not happened. Mitch has regressed in his 3rd season. So I think the way this works out, the only way that I can sound this out that makes sense, if Mitch doesn't, if he continues playing like this, is they get to the end of the season, he just plays out the season, you just suck it up, and it becomes a tough deal. You got to keep your team together, and he goes through the season. And then you have to open up the competition. You have to open it to competition, sign a veteran. Now, the name that everyone in Chicago already is talking about, you know how this works, Josie. You're already on to the next thing. It's Marcus Mariota, because his college coach Mark Helfrich is the Bears' offensive coordinator. Okay,
Yeah, but I mean, wait.
so let me keep going though here. Pace really liked Mariota coming out. Okay, he explored trading Jay Cutler to the Titans to try to move up there and get Mariota. Okay. Now, is Mariota going to transform your franchise? No, we know what he is, but think about where the Bears are. They don't have a first-round pick in the draft.
Okay.
So if they go 5-11, 6-10, their first-round pick belongs to the Oakland Raiders in the Khalil Mack trade. So in a way, they're sort of stuck. Maybe you sign a Mariota, and then you draft someone. I mean, they're stuck, man. They are in trouble with this situation, and the best way out of it is for Mitch to play them out of it, and we just keep waiting for him to take that step. Okay, when's it going to click? Because here's the thing. They went through last season, and there was every reason to believe that, okay, was he Pat Mahomes? No. Was he Deshaun Watson? No. But he was going the right direction.
Right.
Through 8 games, halfway through the season, it's a regression, and that's what's so troubling. Can he play him out of it? I don't think he can.
Yeah.
I think we've seen enough that he can't. We'll see, though.
And look, you see him all the time. But just what I saw in that little bit in the locker room at the podium, he looks like a dude who's kind of like shaken.
Yes.
And really defeated, and it's only halfway through the season.
Yes.
So that's why when you say, I don't think he can, I kind of understand why you say that.
It's a confidence thing. It truly is. I mean, you see the effects of negative plays add up, and you can see it on a game-to-game basis, play-to-play basis. Against the Chargers last Sunday, Trubisky they have a 6-point lead in the fourth quarter. Trubisky overthrows Gabriel down the seam. He got behind the defense. It was a touchdown. On Monday, Matt Nagy called it the dagger. Trubisky overthrows it. The next play, fumbles without getting hit. So this is the type of thing that compounds. These mistakes compound themselves, and he can't get out of this funk. And for as much as they try to scheme it up and help him, he's not helping himself enough. Now, today against the Eagles defensive front did a great job pressuring him. I mean, I think really today it was a collective failure offensively for the Bears. But again, Trubisky's got to be the water level, right? He's got to raise all the boats, and he's just not that guy.
All right, man. Well,
that's pretty grim, huh?
It is pretty grim. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I'm not a Bears fan because it'd be pretty depressing.
It is, man.
Hey, we're going to be following this. We're going to be following your work, seeing how this goes. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Rich_Campbell, and all of our Bears coverage is available at chicagotribune.com/Bears.
All right, you have a podcast too, right?
Yeah, we do. The Bear Download podcast. We're about to get to it. A lot to break down here. As the Bears, man, they were talking Super Bowl, Jonesy, in the offseason. Openly talking Super Bowl. Here they are, 3-5. I told you the schedule. They've got 3 road divisional games. I mean, they're going to have to claw to get to 8-8, and this is just astounding that it's already this bleak so early.
All right, man.
I'll leave you on that note. Great seeing you.
On that note, appreciate it, man. Good to see you.
My pleasure, pal.
All right. Thanks so much for Rich Campbell for giving us that insight. I really don't see how the Bears are going to dig their way out of this, especially when they're a division with the Packers and the Vikings. And it's really going to be interesting to see what happens with Mitch Trubisky the rest of the way here. But they've got some real decisions to make. That's all for this episode. We're going to come back to you later this week. Thanks for listening. Again, check out my stuff on USA Today.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram @ByMikeJones, and I will talk to you on Thursday. Thanks.